There is not much time left until the release of 79 24 hours to be exact. We already know that there will be at least 2 scenes in this episode, and the whole episode will consist of 2 parts. One scene will last about 5 minutes, and the second 1 minute. More than a month has passed since the release of episode 78, and during this time we got a lot of spoilers, as well as learned a lot of new things. Episode 78 was released on April 21st, and after 3 weeks we learned that in 20 days, Bum managed to do 80% of the work, and it's very cool. And we learned about it on May 11th. Remember this number, it will be useful for us. Because if it wasn't for the extra second scene, episode 79 would have been released last week, but apparently, this scene is very important to Mr. Boom and the Skibidi toilet storyline. After 20 days, Boom published the first 7 spoilers from episode 79. As we remember, some characters from G Squad were shown there. Pumped Toilet and Skibidi Toilet Mafia. Also, we saw there part of the Cameraman base and the Astro Duchess who sat on the roof of this base. The Duchess was even shown in close-up, and she was very happy, although it was more of a sinister smile. Destroyed Strider camera, or maybe some other technique, and maybe this spoiler and this one are the same thing. If so, we see here a powerful technique that is controlled by a big cameraman. And in the last 7 frames, we are shown some kind of energy. In general, this energy can be compared to the energy of Astro toilets, and in addition, on the basis of Cameraman developed exactly the same energy. From May 11th to May 18th, 1 week passed, and unfortunately, Boom managed to do only 5% of the work, because he reported about it and said that he added an extra scene. As we can see, in the first 3 weeks, the Boom team worked very quickly on the episode, but then something happened, and in 1 week, they managed to do 5% of the animation. Also, we were shown already 8 spoiler, where the Astro toilet was shown, from which only the skull was left. On May 19th, Boom showed us the scientist's Skibidi, or rather his mech suit, which is controlled by someone. Once, the scientist was controlled by TV Vumon, and who controls at the moment, no one knows yet. Well, on May 25th, we were shown 4 more spoilers, so now we have 12 spoilers, and if we combine them all, we will get the approximate storyline of the first part of the 79th episode. I suggest to remember all this because there is not much time left before the episode release. Don't forget to give us a like, and we are already starting. In the first shot, we see a hybrid Giga Chad looking at the cameraman and smiling widely, and the spoiler itself is called Burrs itself. This word does not translate in any way and does not have any meaning, but it is very consonant with the word berserk, which means furious or crazy. As on the spoiler, we actually see only his head, so we can't see him fully, so it's hard to say if he has received any new powerful improvements, but if you look closely at his lasers and eyes, they are clearly brighter. And it's not clear whether it's a trick of the eye, and because of such good graphics he's brighter, or he's energized, because not for nothing, G Squad disappeared for a while. Well, after the mini enhancement, he has arrived to the aid of the Speakerman Armada and other characters, including his friend the Hybrid with a saw, and he is the one smiling. However, there is a possibility that he is at another location where no battles are being fought, as there are no signs of lights, broken lasers, or goggles on him. And as we remember in episode 78, the Astro Toilet Squad attacked the squad immediately, not giving them time to prepare, so it is unlikely that he would have had time for unnecessary actions. On the second spoiler, we are smiling already Astro Duchess, and the title of the spoiler consists of a lot of random characters. As in the previous case, we are shown only her face. We have already seen such a crazy expression in episode 76 when one of the Skibidi toilets attacked her from behind, causing her to start twitching and behaving inappropriately. It's possible that this time she was attacked by someone big, like the Titan Speakerman or G-Man himself, causing her to become enraged and ready for a brutal battle. However, there's another option. Judging from the reflection of the flash in her eyes, it's quite possible that she's attacking someone herself, or she's being attacked by some minor character again, which makes her just go crazy and can't stop laughing. And on the third frame, we already see Astro Duchess in full height. She is sitting on the roof of some building, and behind her there are several Astro toilets hovering. This spoiler is called Mommy, and in fact the Duchess is the mother of all Astro toilets. And believe me, this name is not accidental, because Dafuk, as we know, loves Astro Duchess very much. Most likely, this is already a different location from the one in episode 78. After all, there is no destruction, fire, or traces of the recent battle seen here, which means that the area has already been completely taken over by the Astro toilets and established control. You can tell by her posture that she's waiting for someone, perhaps to gather the entire squad and move into battle. And it looks to me like it's the UFO toilets she's waiting for, along with either the Titan TV man or the Guardian of Doom. And judging by recent episodes, this trio only acts together as a unified force. If you look at the fourth frame, you can see some kind of laboratory, which is clearly undergoing active development or creation of new technology, as the spoiler title Tech, short for technology, says. At first glance, it looks very similar to one of the Astro toilet laboratories. It is visible by the gloomy, almost hellish style, where everything is saturated with energy and high-tech mechanisms. And it's not surprising, as Astro toilets have the most resources and energy at the moment. Most likely, this is the lab where the technology that will be implemented into TV Man's Titan is being developed. Mind you, back in episode 77, he could have been sent to one such lab for his first serious enhancements using powerful Astro toilet technology that the Alliance has no knowledge of. What's more, it's possible these enhancements might not just strengthen him, but infect him even more, turning him into an almost uncontrollable force. In that case, the chances of saving him would be practically nil, and whatever is being created in that lab is clearly something powerful and very dangerous. In the fifth shot, the first thing that catches our eye is the fire, explosions, and general explosive atmosphere, but on top of that, we also notice the new mini-tanks of the Cameraman, and in the background we can see several drones being hit, suggesting a large-scale battle. Apparently, these events take place in the same location as episode 78. It looks like the Cameramen have come to the aid of the Allies and are going to put their new technology to use in battle. As for the mini-tanks themselves, it's likely that each of them is capable of producing a powerful projectile designed to hit aerial targets. This makes them especially dangerous against enemy drones and flying foes. In the sixth frame, we see another Skibidi toilet, which from the looks of it is part of the J Squad. He has glowing yellow eyes and lasers like the other squad members. At first I thought it was Skibidi Michael Jackson, all because of the distinctive hat. But looking at the spoiler title, Mafia, it became clear that this is most likely the return of an old acquaintance, Skibidi Mafia, whom Titan Speakerman once gave 2 powerful punches. And now he's back on the screen. Hopefully this time he'll be fighting on the same side as Titan Speakerman. Notable changes include a new mask that looks like a gas mask, distinctive Astro toilet lasers, and possibly additional armor. Judging by the first and sixth spoilers, J Squad is actively starting to act, and it is possible that we will see G-Man himself in the episode. The seventh spoiler is visually very similar to the fifth and appears to take place at the same moment. Once again, we see a camera Strider who has come under attack. Fire and explosions are raging around him, and everything looks like a real hell on the battlefield. This shot emphasizes the scale of the conflict. The Alliance is probably starting to lose until help arrives. The spoiler accurately captures the atmosphere of tension and chaos. In the eighth final spoiler, we see a close-up of Skibidi WC's face, with a strange reflection on his glasses. Due to the raw quality of the shot, it's hard to see exactly what is reflected in them. However, the walls and general background suggest that he is inside some sort of shelter. Perhaps he is watching from a safe vantage point, or perhaps it foreshadows some hidden scene or important plot point. To be honest, the upcoming episode promises to be one of the most powerful. The mere appearance of the Astro Duchess makes it clear that we are in for something big. However, the question remains, when and how will the storyline with the conversation between UFO and J-Men be revealed? The spoilers don't show their meeting, nor any notes, documents, or other clues related to the topic. Given that Dafuk Boom seems to have changed plans for episode 79, there's a chance that the development of this storyline will be be pushed to episode 80, with episode 79 focusing on the massive alliance battle against the Astro toilets. It's also worth noting that we didn't see Titan Speakerman or any Speakerman at all in the spoilers, but the focus is clearly on the return of G-Squad and the new Cameraman tech, which may be the deciding factor in the upcoming battle. The way I see it, in episode 79, it all starts with the Astro Duchess, who, along with the UFO WC and Titan TV Man, will be in that very same secret lab. It's there that Titan TV Man will likely be introduced to the dangerous new technology we've already been hinted at in the spoilers. After that, the three of them will go to the battlefield to support their own and at the same time morally break the alliance with the fact that Titan TV Man is now under the control of the Astro toilets. However, before we see it, the events will probably move to the main battlefield from episode 78. The alliance will try to hold off the onslaught of Astro toilets, and even the arrival of a new squad of cameramen with improved equipment will not change the situation. Their power will still be insufficient. And then, at the most critical moment, the G-Squad, led by G-Man, will appear. Their sudden intervention will quickly turn the tide of battle and defeat the enemy. But the series will not end there. In the finale, we are likely to see a powerful intrigue. G-Man and his squad will come face-to-face with Astro Duchess, Titan TV Man, and UFO Toilet. At this point, the episode will probably end. As for Titan Speakerman, I'm pretty sure he won't be in episode 79. Most likely, before his return, they'll show us the Speakerman base and reveal the other members so we have time to learn and appreciate the new technology and fighters. After all, as soon as Titan appears, all attention will turn to him, and other characters may just get lost in the background. Of course, I couldn't help but show you this spoiler showing the new Astro toilet. By the way, Dafuk also left a negative reaction to the post. Has the simp been forgotten? As we recall, he was a prisoner of Skibidi toilets in episode 74. And since Dafuk mentioned earlier that he has big plans for Simp Cameraman, we just have to wait for his return. So, question 1.
Boom. Will someone important die in episode 79?
Now the episode gets even more intriguing. At this point, we have a lot of key characters, and judging from the spoilers available, we can highlight the hybrid of Jock and Mafia. They are part of the G-Squad, which means they automatically fall into the list of important characters. Also among the important characters is Astro Duchess, who we saw in the Cameraman base. However, I doubt she's the one who will be killed. It's much more likely that Astro the UFO could be killed. For one thing, he's an old character and has already been featured in many key episodes, but more importantly, he's sure to have a conflict with G-Man. And if one of them has to die, it will most likely be Astro UFO. Although, of course, this is just a guess, because Dafuk Boom always gives us something different than we expect. Question 2.
Will someone from the Half-Titan race show up in 79?
The first half-Titan we saw was Speakerman Executor. It is logical to assume that other races will show their half-Titans too. In the case of Skibidi Toilets, such a character will be Skibidi Mafia, as Dafuk discounted his gif when asked. The other thing I wonder is what will be their specialty. The regular Titans had a core as their key element, but the half-Titans will probably have something completely different. It is also quite possible that Cameramen will introduce their half-Titan as well. Judging by the leaked footage, they're not doing so well right now, and they could use an ally, especially if they still haven't found their Titan. Question 3.
Who will win the fight, or rather, who is stronger still, the Titan TV Man or the Juggernaut?
We've seen this fight before, in episode 77. Back then, as we know, Juggernaut almost killed Titan TV Man, but he was saved at the last moment by G-Man. However, it's worth remembering that at that point, Titan TV Man was already injured after fighting other Astro toilets. Perhaps if he had been in normal shape, he would have been able to fight back more seriously. Nevertheless, in Dafuk's opinion, Juggernaut is still superior to Titan TV Man, and it's scary to imagine how the Alliance will fight Astro toilets, considering that Juggernaut is far from the strongest and largest character of his race. Although we should not forget, in battles, it is often not only strength or technology that decides, but also tactics. Question 4.
Can Godzilla defeat the entire Astro fleet?
You mean Monsterverse Godzilla? Absolutely not. Couple obliterators solo it. It loses its main character plot armor magic once it gets ripped from its magic universe into a more realistic one. Godzilla remains strong for humans to handle it, but ultimately loses to many ST characters. There's many ways to defeat Godzilla even in its own canon. It's flesh and skin, after all.
In the second part of episode 68, we could see a link on the wall. Clicking on it directed us to a troll/video where Titan TV Man easily handled Godzilla. If he could handle even him in a matter of seconds, what to speak of the entire Astro fleet? The most interesting thing is the reaction of the fandom. After that very troll slive, Godzilla fans were unhappy with how easily their favorite character was dealt with. Because of this, arguments between fandoms continue to this day. Question 5 is,
Can you tell us about the strength of those Skibidi Kamikaze from episode 65 that flew into Titans?
as we recall, in episode 65, those very same kamikazes did some serious damage to the Titans. Titan Cameraman was especially hurt. His arm was torn off and he was practically incapacitated for a while. Now imagine, if Dafuk compares the power of these kamikazes to a nuclear bomb, what happens if you launch a lot more of them at a single Titan or any other major character? And if the Astro Toilets familiarize themselves with this technology and decide to send some kamikazes to some base, they will leave behind radiation that can at least kill the people sheltering there. The only thing preventing the creation of large numbers of these kamikazes is, of course, lack of resources. The sixth question is,
Boom. Can Kratos defeat the Astro Carrier?
for those who don't know, Kratos is the protagonist of the God of War series of games. He is a Spartan warrior. He is about 198 centimeters tall, and in battle he uses mainly the blades of chaos and the axe. At the same time, he has incredible agility and physical strength. However, just look at Astro Carrier, who spectacularly appeared at the end of episode 78. He has a powerful core and 5 huge lasers in his arsenal, 2 of which were originally hidden under protection. His size is also impressive, so it's not surprising that Dafuk confidently states that Kratos is unlikely to defeat the Astro Carrier. Also, someone started an argument about who would win, Doomslayer or Astro Toilet. In response, Dafuk sent a video showing what happens to Doomslayer after a single shot from a regular Astro Ripper. Not to be unsubstantiated, Dafuk also gave his point of view on the matter. In this post, he noted that he doesn't overestimate the characters from Skibidi Toilets, but rather that people themselves underestimate the entire series and its characters. He gave examples from the original game, where Doomslayer is shown to be quite vulnerable, and his strength is greatly exaggerated by fans. At the same time, even the average Astro Ready is able to withstand many shots and blows before dying. Therefore, in Dafuk's opinion, Doomslayer can count himself lucky if he finds himself at least on par with Astro Ready. Dafuk Boom also chatted with one more animator and IBO75, during which we learned some interesting facts. Reads all questions and answers at once. For those not in the know, Pablo is the unimproved Speakerman we glimpsed in episode 78 in his original guise. The most curious thing is his weight. While a normal, unmodernized Chamberlain weighs about 500 to 600 kilograms, Pablo, being made of dense metal, weighs about 10 to 20 tons. That's why he can easily cope with 100 gorillas, because they won't even be able to lift or bite him, but he can kill them with a single blow. This is probably why Pablo will never get an upgrade, because it would be extremely difficult to dismantle him. It would require a tremendous amount of effort, as well as finding a metal as rare and dense as the one he's made of. We also learned that the weight of a normal TV man is about 5 tons. This explains why they need a teleporter. After all, we've never once seen them running or moving quickly. For example, in episode 76, when an entire closet was thrown at one of them, he didn't even move. A regular version 3.0 now weighs about 1.5 tons because of the additional armor installed. And Titans, as it turned out, weigh tens of thousands of tons. However, Skibidi Toilets are not so simple either. They are not made of porcelain or ceramic, as in real life, but are also made of metal, which makes them much more durable and dangerous. In addition to the already known information that the episode is 85% ready and the first part will be about 5 minutes long, EBO75 managed to find out some more interesting details. If anyone was still doubting whether episode 79 will be split into parts, there is no doubt now. Dafuk has officially confirmed that there will be 2 parts, as his plans for the episode have changed. Mr. Boom seems to be dragging his feet on releasing an episode for a reason, because both parts of 79 are going to be truly epic. Even Dafuk himself admitted that he can't choose which one is better, the first or the second. If we remember the previous episodes, which were divided into parts, the first 2 usually served as an introduction to the third part, where the main plot was already revealed. But the 79th episode will be obviously different. As we remember, earlier Dafuk Boom promised to release the 79th episode in May, but apparently he doesn't have time to finish it completely, and he doesn't want to deceive the viewers, and maybe that's why he decided to split the episode into parts. Most likely, we'll see part 1 only at the end of the month, and if we're lucky, in about 1 week. Still, we'll immediately see a continuation of the scene from episode 78, where the Armada came under attack from the Astro toilets. We may see 2 battles. In the first part, Astro Toilets battle against G-Squad and Cameraman, and in the second part, continuation of the battle between Astro Toilets and Armada from episode 78, or vice versa. Also, I think Speakerman the Titan or someone else growing up as Titans will appear at the end of the first part. Perhaps a secret agent or one of his assistants will appear in the episode. It's still unclear what form they'll be in, considering the secret woman agent could take the form of a car, a ficus, or even a chair. So the secret agent and his assistants could have this ability as well. Episode 79 could be one of the most and possibly the most epic episode of the entire series. Most likely, we will see fighters of almost all races, maybe even Titan Speakerman. But the only good news is that we won't have to wait much longer, because the episode is just around the corner. We see Cameraman Scientist, who has already appeared in the 74th and 78th episode. Also next to him is Cameraman the Detective and one of the Speakerman. In the background, we can see one of the Skibidi Toilet Scientists, which is not surprising, because in the full 77th episode, we were shown that part of the Skibidi Toilet Army arrived at the Cameraman base. Judging from the setting, it appears to be one of the labs where various improvements or new character creation is being developed. However, it remains unclear what exactly the Cameraman Detective forgot here and why he is talking to the Cameraman Scientist. It's also unclear why the Speakerman is next to them. The detective has some kind of device in his hands. Perhaps he is going to give it to the scientist to refine it for his own purposes. For example, to get more information about Lucky Cameraman, or to try to restore Plungerman's memory. After all, as we remember, in season 25, the detective really needed Plungerman's body to learn all the details. Also note the chair that stands out brightly in the background. We've seen the chair that the secret woman agent ended up masquerading as before. This time, however, it may be some other secret agent's assistant who overhears the conversation between the 3 characters and will do everything possible to make sure that they, and especially the detective, don't succeed. After all, the detective might interfere with the secret agent's plan. Either way, we'll find out what it is or who it is in the new episode. In the meantime, let's move on to the next spoiler. The second shot takes place in the same location and in the same place as the first, judging by the similar setting and the Skibidi toilet in the bottom right corner. This time, the huge statue of Plungerman is of particular note, showing his iconic gait from episode 50, the very moment when he went at a crowd of Skibidi toilets single-handedly. As I see it, this statue is erected for a reason, as Dafuk often makes visual cues like this. I believe that either in this episode, he's officially letting us know that Plungerman is finally out of the story and only a monument remains, or it's a hint that he'll be returning to the series soon. Either way, Dafuk clearly had something to say with that. Also especially pathetic is one of the cameraman engineers who sits on the floor near the statue, covering his camera with his hand. Perhaps he's faking tears by doing so. The statue is certainly impressive, but the events in the next shot are not so positive. Here we can see that the Astro Touches have figured out the cameraman base. However, no one is joining the fight yet. We are also shown a lot of G-Squad fighters that we haven't seen in a while. For example, in the left corner we can spot a Giga Chad hybrid who appears to have grown muscles. You can also see something that looks like brass knuckles on his arm. A little further away is our old acquaintance, Michael Jackson the toilet. Judging by the first look, he hasn't received any improvements. But the most interesting thing is on the right side of the screen. There, in addition to the acid cannon, we can notice a foot, and this means only one thing. A new half-titan in the form of a Mafia toilet is also there, and is ready to destroy everyone. However, one thing remains unclear. Where are the rest of the G-Squad members? For example, Skibidi DJ, or the Hybrid Special Forces. Most likely they are somewhere off-screen, and it is quite possible that we will see the entire G-Squad assembled, except for the Hybrid with the saw, as he stayed with another squad from episode 78. It is possible that this squad may be abandoned by one of the fighters, as Dafuk had previously warned that an important character would die in episode 79. In the last shot, we are shown a very close-up of one of the scientist cameramans. You know, for some reason I get the feeling that he's not too happy and just panicked out of desperation. However, I would hazard a guess that if we were shown the full picture, we would see some powerful character or some technology. Of course, I doubt we'd be shown a cameraman titan right away, but what about a half-titan? After all, it's quite possible that during the time cameraman titan was missing and there was no word from him, the scientists were developing new fighters that could protect the base. And given that they were joined by scientists from the Skibidi toilet race, the resources to create new technologies became much more. Especially since their base had been relatively quiet until episode 79, they had plenty of time to develop, especially since the scientists seemed to be working non-stop and under constant pressure. All 4 spoilers that Dafuk provided us with were based on the cameramans, which means that part 1 of episode 79 will mainly focus on just the events that take place in their territory. Also, Dafuk previously said that episode 79 will be epic, and it is likely that we will be shown the cameraman base battle in part 1, while part 2 will continue the squad battle shown in episode 78. According to Dafuk, part 1 will be about 6 minutes long. Judging from all the spoilers, it will finally reveal to us what the cameraman detective wanted from the cameraman scientist and what kind of device he was carrying. We'll also probably see Plungerman, not just in statue form but in some other state. Beyond that, the question remains, why is the Duchess sitting so calmly at the cameraman base? And will Robert be able to hold her until help arrives? Well, and most importantly, we must finally find out the real reason why the Astro Touches are so eager to take revenge on G-Man. Let's now try to speculate on the events of Part 1 and Part 2 of Episode 79. Part 1 will most likely start at the cameraman base, the very sector where the improvements are taking place. There, we will probably see some members of the G-Squad or some new characters. The focus then shifts abruptly to the cameraman detective, Speakerman, and the cameraman scientist. The detective demonstrates a new technology to the scientist and hands it to him. Later, we see the face of the same scientist from the last spoiler, and he too shows us something interesting. Then, there are explosions outside, possibly a siren going off. Cameraman runs outside and notices the Astro toilets arriving at the base, along with the Astro Duchess and other hostile characters. But the Duchess will not arrive immediately, but after the Astro destroyers have destroyed the base. A long battle begins, which will continue until G-Man shows up. He and the Duchess will probably have a conversation that will finally reveal all the secrets and motives behind their invasion of Earth. Soon, an Astro UFO arrives on the battlefield with the Guardian of Doom, and when the tension reaches its limit, it is at this moment that G-Man decides to use a secret weapon that he has been hiding for a long time, and that's when the real chaos begins. The Astro toilets panic, causing them to flee the battlefield. Meanwhile, one of the key heroes of the Alliance may be killed if he gets hit, or perhaps one will be badly wounded and sacrifice himself to activate the weapon at the cost of his own life. This is where the episode will likely end abruptly, leaving us in the strongest intrigue before part 2. The next part will begin with the continuation of the Astro toilets attack that began back in episode 78. For a long time, the battle will be fought on equal footing, with both Speakerman squad members and Astro toilets dying. However, the focus soon shifts to the huge Astro transporter, which will no doubt do serious damage to the Speakerman armada. Presumably, when the enemy numbers become critical, the Titan Speakerman will appear on the battlefield. He will destroy all opponents, demonstrating his true power and proving that he is no longer a weak link. After that, the squad will most likely go to the cameraman base. Having learned about the attack, or from the information received, it is at this point that the episode will probably end. Additional episodes may show us the Speakerman base from the inside, its structure, technology, and the like. Of course, I can't say 100% that this is exactly what will happen, but we will see something similar. As we remember, according to Defuk, the 79th episode was supposed to be released in May, that is, tomorrow. But as we know, after that answer, a lot of things happened. For example, episode 79 was divided into 2 parts, as well as a new scene was added. And just recently, Defuk suggested that the first part of the 79th episode will be released this week, so we can only wait. I am Super Cameraman. Bye.